told we couldn't be here earlier, but now we have police show up and Border Patrol saying, in fact, that we could be there. Within a matter of minutes, 2 vehicles from both directions sped up on us. As I was getting back in the vehicle, we just finished filming the stand-up, and I see the first police vehicle speed at me and slams on brakes, and I jump out of the vehicle. I was like, what's going on, guys? And he goes, put your hands up, put your hands up. And we're like, what the hell's going on? And next thing you know, the other vehicle slams on brakes. 2 other officers get out. We're surrounded by 4 people with their hands at their gun, kind of like that. And they're telling us to stand back. They're like, we don't know if you have firearms. Who are you? You're trespassing. And I'm sitting there going, no, we're not trespassing.
Now, is this any of the same people from earlier?
No, these are different people.
Now, is this state police or Border Patrol?
No, this was the game wardens.
Oh, the game wardens, of course.
There's 4 different entities that watch over this piece of land. So they tell us, hey, does anybody have a firearm? Zimmerman's got one on his side. And
the game wardens are the absolute worst.
The female game warden comes over and starts yanking on Zimmerman's side, on his holster. She doesn't even know how to pull a gun out of a holster. There's already one in the chamber.
Now I understand, because the earlier, okay, so now I'm getting one of those women look so just like ignoramuses. They don't look like any type of police I've seen. I get it. So now I understand.
One of the
they would never dare go near a cartel or an actual criminal. They just see a good American to push around. So now it makes sense.
So they're yanking on Zimmerman's belt and trying to get his gun out of his holster. She then leaves the magazine inside the gun, which shows you she has 0 experience with firearms, racks it back, ejects a round, by then actually putting another round into the chamber and then walking around with it. So they have 0 experience with firearms, yet they can handle them. And they said, you know, you can't be out here. This is a dangerous area. And Michael Zimmerman's like, well, yeah, that's why we have guns with us. You know, meanwhile, we can hear kids coming across the river, and they walk over and look like, oh, they're just swimming. They're playing in the river. This is not an area where people play. This is in the middle of nowhere.
So you see illegals coming across in front of these buffoons.
And we're being harassed.
So what happened next?
We as reporters were being harassed and extorted. So we're sitting here, and the guy takes our IDs, and he goes, all right, I'm running you guys through the system. So they start running our names through the system, come back and said that, oh, well, Zimmerman, huh? You were here last week. We told you, or the federal Fish and Wildlife told you could not be here. They never gave him any paperwork. They never gave any paperwork to Don Salazar.
And it's made up. It's made up. Jackson. It's all outside of law.
Yes.
It's like telling black people they can't be at a restaurant or something, you know, because they're black.
They have zero proof that they can show on paper any kind of report that was done to show that that's
you totally have them with the Border Patrol that actually have the jurisdiction. That's the border. That's where the feds have the jurisdiction, and the state police saying that. But
apparently they had to hold us in. So when they called in our names, then this federal Fish and Wildlife game guy hears the names and immediately tells us we have to be held.
Oh, that's who Ted Nugent says. Ted knows all the feds. He says they're all overall pretty great people. He says, but the Fish and Wildlife are literal communist demons.
Oh, this was out of control. So at this point, we're told to keep our hands up. And for an hour, we're sitting here with our hands on top of our hands in the sun. It's 100 degrees. And they're sitting here like...
And there's illegals crossing right behind you.
Oh, yeah. And it's happening at the exact same time. Here's the thing. We were given criminal trespassing charges. But the night before, we saw 2 groups of families come over. They weren't charged with anything. No, what happened was a bus came down, picked them up, takes them to the McAllen bus stop. They get a free bus ticket.
Wow, you have footage of the
they want.
So you have the completion, so you have the footage of them coming across on the bus and taken.
Yeah, they came in and they have the Border Patrol sitting there.
I can't wait to see this.
Take them.
I mean, look at that. It's crazy. And then you are arrested and charged. Wow.
Yeah, but they're released and they go, well, they have a court date. It'll be 5 years out, but they probably won't make it. But they don't get charged with anything. I got charged as a U.S. reporter, a citizen. I was disarmed.
There's your headline, law-abiding veteran journalist charged for filming on border. I mean, it shows you these people are out to get us.
And the federal Fish and Wildlife guy shows up, and he keeps going, I'm sorry, you know, you're a veteran. Thank you for your service, but I need to take your guns from you. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to write you the citation. You can't have your guns back. Sorry, veteran. I'm so sorry, veteran. Pay this $230 per person to get your firearms back. Like, this is ridiculous. How can me as a U.S. citizen, as a journalist, not be able to walk around? And here's the argument that the local game wardens, the Texas game wardens made. They go, well, if you just pull up Google Earth, the area you're standing at is green, which says it's a wildlife refuge. Well, we actually went and did the research and took screenshots. Where were we at when you pull back? It's not green.
I know. Plus, I know the federal and state laws. They have to have fences and signs. You don't just show up and say, we want to cover up this area, so we're calling it a wildlife refuge.
There's zero signs that can be seen that say do not go here, that is trespassing. We saw one sign that was under the Andalusia Bridge, the international bridge to go into Mexico. We saw the sign that says no trespassing, and guess what we did? We made a U-turn and didn't go that way because we followed the sign. But once we were down there,
but that's part of the federal facility. That's part of the checkpoint. It's not the freaking side of the river. Sorry, go ahead.
But down by the river, there's no signs. But the game warden goes, well, we haven't really kept up the land, but they're hidden behind other trees now. But they're there, but you just couldn't see them.
But they still charged you. They still charged you.
Yeah, we had to pay a fine to get our guns back. They were taken from us. We were extorted. This is the same stuff you see in Mexico when families are trying to travel around and the police pull them over and take all their possessions and say, you have to pay this to get it back.
Okay, well, listen,
here in America?
There was a fog of war and it said feds, and then we knew locals were involved, and then we kind of put in the article Border Patrol, and I know they were involved to a certain extent, the state police, but I have to apologize now. That happens in fast reporting news. I know, I'm sure Adon got it right, and I'm sure Mikhail Thalen right in the article did, but we'll just make sure that it's the Federal Fish and Wildlife just commandeered things. Now it makes perfect sense to keep reporters out of the area because the Border Patrol is exposing what's going on, and so then Obama controls the fish and wildlife people a lot more.
The Border Patrol guy watches our videos.
Okay, well I don't make mistakes on purpose, but that's why I blew up so bad. I'm like, you're asking us to come down here, you're whistleblowing to us, and then you're doing this to our people. But that's how I got the report last night. I guess early on the reports were it was Border Patrol.
Yeah, well, originally we were out there. The Border Patrol had no issue. The first night we got there, we were behind them as they were talking to these people from Honduras.
Okay, well, then
and they were fine. They said, walk past us. They didn't care.
So do me a favor then. Get with Mikhail and them and just read over the article and then just make sure I got it all right and put a correction at the bottom. So I feel a lot better now. I was really blowing up earlier because I'm just like, you like whistleblow to us and tell us come down here and then you're arresting us. Who are these traitors that were doing this? And now I understand that they were feds in federal uniforms that looks like Border Patrol, but now I understand what's going on. How many agencies are down there, Joe?
4 different entities govern that small piece of land. You have the Texas State Police, you have the Border Patrol, you have the local game wardens, and then you have the federal wildlife and fish people.
Well, I also got confused because you did have the state police almost run you over yesterday and go crazy.
Yes, I mean, it is ridiculous. The amount of money we are spending to harass reporters, but allow illegals to come through and drugs into our country. Why do you think Donald Trump's so passionate about closing the border down? There's no problem with legal immigration, but there's a hell of a lot of illegals coming over here that get treated better than I do.
Sure.
I freaking served my country. I shouldn't be treated like this. I shouldn't have my firearms taken away. I shouldn't be told I can't be there. That's my land. My tax dollars pay for it. That's state land. That's ridiculous.
Well, I want to play this Trump clip where he talked about the video that you and Josh Owens got last year. Just to illustrate, this is why they don't want reporters down there documenting things. And it's not just you. Other press has been harassed. And they've tried to harass the Border Patrol not to talk to the press, obviously. So this is what they don't want to see. Donald Trump playing our videos. Here it is.
What happened? So while we're there, you probably read it. It was in Drudge, who's great, by the way. Drudge is amazing. But the story in Drudge, and big story, it's all over the place now. Guys swimming across, and big bags of stuff, drugs, swimming across the river, right? Swimming right across. And they put the drugs, and actually the camera crew, or the reporters, were petrified because they thought they were going to be killed. Because they're showing this on camera. The guy's carrying bags of stuff. It was drugs.
What happened to...
And then we've got the emergency managers saying that they bring them from the border and put them on buses and ship them wherever they want to go. I'm going to come back to Biggs and your calls after the break and also talk to some of the other reporters and get their take on what's happening. I'm going to come back to Dennis and then Dan and then Matt and Jim and Shindig and others. We do have a guest coming on. Let's get our next guest on about 20 after next hour, so I have time to cover this other news. As a backdrop, ladies and gentlemen, we have other stories like this one. This is from RT. Putin loses it, warns journalist of war. I don't know how to get through to you people. And explains that the West is basically starting a war with Russia. And by the way, that is a fact. Russia's not perfect, and I've never been to Russia, and I don't have some stake in just saying this, but it's the truth. The West is starting all of this with Russia and funding radical jihadis to attack them, and it's a big deal. It's now time to realize the world is escalating into global crisis, and the people running our government are the ones trying to cause the global meltdown. They are the enemy. Well, I'll say this. Obama and his Fish and Wildlife goons down on the border arresting our reporters for just being out of a river, exposing the open border. You failed. DrudgeReport.com, top link, left-hand side. Feds arrest press for reporting on open borders. Government completing smuggling cycle for illegals. Obama joint effort with corporations can resettle refugees limitlessly. And we're putting together a very short compilation of Trump talking about our videos and the Border Patrol admitting the border's open and the emergency manager admitting it's open and they're ordered to let them in, and the illegals pouring across, as well as the Border Patrol saying we're ordered to complete the smuggling process. The video should be called, "This Video Convicts Obama for Treason," or "This is why Obama's arresting the press for reporting on the open border." Because just like all these communists and people beating up Trump supporters makes Trump go up in the polls, if other people would just go down to the border, it is crazy town down there. And you see the illegals come across, the Border Patrol puts them on a bus, takes them to another bus at a restaurant to get some food, and just bye-bye, here's some money, bye-bye, we're not checking you for diseases, bye-bye. If that comes out, it's over for them. So now it makes sense. When they said the feds arrested him, we're updating the article. We actually had it last night. It was Fish and Wildlife assigning to the Border Patrol. It's just crazy. And the state police almost ran the guys over, and they were involved too, but were nicer the next day. Just please let us try to fix the country. Just please let us expose what's going on. Please just leave us alone. We're already risking our lives down there. I'm going to go back to Joe and your calls. I'm pushing Joel Gilbert back 20 minutes the next hour so we can get to your calls and have the other reporters pop in. But briefly, I haven't even plugged this hour. We are running a special 20 to 40% off on the best storable foods out there at InfoWarsStore.com. We can only do this a few times a year, but because of all the craziness and all the, Deutsche Bank melting down and all the crazy things that are happening and the elite buying armored redoubts and getting storable food, it's smart for patriots to be self-sufficient and ready. This is insurance you can eat. Now's the time to be prepared. 20 to 40% off, and the profit we do make helps fund the operation and what we're doing. And can't you see the big effect InfoWars is having? Thank you for your support. We just sell products we know you need that also help us fight the good fight for freedom. We also have 20% off our best-selling nutraceutical Survival Shield Nascent Iodine X2, but that is selling out. So I intend to have this go to Monday, this Independence special, but the X2 may have to stop because I don't want to completely sell out of that. It's going to be about a month till we get more, so take advantage of that. Also, shortwave radio is 20% off. All the non-GMO heirloom, super high-quality seeds, already great prices, 20% off, and a lot more. We've expanded the sale, not just extended it. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com takes you right to the nutraceuticals, right to the supplements, and then you can also call toll-free 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139, and I want to thank you all for your support, building a true independent media operation that's fearless. Joe Biggs, we're going to break in about a minute and a half. I'm going to come back with some of the other crew. But just great job. Thanks for doing what you're doing. You wanted to go to the border again. You guys are maniacs. So great job again exposing this. Resistance is victory. Other points as we go to break.
Well, we were charged with a misdemeanor, and we were told that if we come back on federal property like that again, without written permission, without written consent by the government, that we would then be charged with a felony and have our firearms removed. So
and they're just claiming just anywhere on the border, period. You just can't be there.
I mean, I guess, because their own thing they said was if you pull back on Google and it's green, you can't be there. But when we did that on our phones, it wasn't green. So apparently they own all the land.
But that's not even true. They can't let illegals come across and commit felonies against the Republic and dereliction of duty, and then like a spider claim that there's some sign back in the bushes, so we're going to give you a felony, boy. Well, Bend over and squeal like a piggy. Sorry.
Well, I said I didn't see the sign. I didn't see the sign. Hillary Clinton said she didn't send classified emails, but she was let go, and I was given a misdemeanor. She's not even getting a misdemeanor. That's where the problem is.
Well, it's a load of horse crap. We have to fight this now. I understand they made you do a thing to get your firearms back, but we got to sue them now. Doesn't matter anymore it goes. We just have to haul their ass in court, put those little beady-eyed commies up on the stand or whatever they are politically. I don't know what they are. There's some kind of weirdo minion of evil. I don't know. What's your opinion on that? Idiots, brain-dead morons, collaborators? We'll be back. Your calls are coming up in the next segment. Dennis and Dan and Matt and Jim.